Okay, started the tear down of our 6-liter. Got all the accessories off, just pulled the valve covers off. Looks really nice down in there. Said this is a pretty low mileage motor. I think they thought there was about 80,000 on it whenever they pulled it. A guy pulled it from his buddy's truck, and so it wasn't like a junkyard find, but everything looks real good so far. I'm going to pull all the rockers off, get those out there, close the valves since we're not using these heads. That'll keep the cylinders blocked off whenever I wash this thing down and do that process. And while that's happening, I'll go ahead and throw these rockers in the ultrasonic cleaner, get those looking nice and fresh and get them ready for a trunnion upgrade. And I don't know, hopefully we can get our heads this weekend, but I don't think it's going to happen. But we'll go ahead and get everything else stripped off of this after we get the block primed. I may wait to strip everything down because we're going to paint this thing the original Oldsmobile gold. It may just be easier to go ahead, leave these heads on so I don't have to mask anything off, strip it down, go ahead and prime it since it is an iron block, and then wait for next week whenever the gold paint shows up and spray it, because we'll be replacing the oil pan and the heads. And I mean, it just make life a lot easier to go ahead and spray it in this configuration. But let's get these off of here. Let's get it ready. Let's get it primed. Hey, shout out to Vivor for sending me this brilliant device here. I am absolutely in love with this pneumatic jack. I've always wanted one of these, and this is like the 9-ton unit. They sent it out to try it. Man, I tell you what. I haven't used my regular jack since getting this thing. This thing's like $100 on their website. It's VEVOR. They've got all kinds of automatic tools or automotive tools, things like that. And so it's got like different areas that you can lock in with some casters on the front. You can put it up and kind of in a storage spot, get it out of the way. It's lighter than a race jack. Well, I mean, lighter than not a race jack, but a big jack. Thing goes down to about 5 inches and will go up to almost 16 inches. So let's get this thing underneath the rear diff. It's kind of a mess in here. Hold on. It's kind of a mess. You can wash this thing. Okay. We'll put it in this lower hole down here like so. I'm going to roll it into place. Come on, get there. That should be good. Close our valves off. And come here, airline. Okay, here goes nothing. Woo. Yeah, look at that. It's not going to be enough for me to get my jack stands out because it just raised the axle up, but I mean, it's that easy. And it holds well, like it doesn't leak. You can come down slow, or if you want to go fast, open both of them up. Let her rip. Hey, huge fan of what's going on. Check out Vivor, VEVOR.com. Shout out to those guys for sending this one over to test. I'll probably do a more in-depth, but I wanted to throw something in there while I was using it. This thing's awesome. Okay, after spending hours getting this thing cleaned up, mainly the block. As I said, we were focused on the block. I used the old leaf blower to dry it off and just got done hitting the block with rust reform or rust converter, whatever you want to call it. Kind of let it tack up, and then we will come in and hit the block with some primer. Not worried about things like the valley cover, which are aluminum. That'll be coming off eventually anyways. We'll probably use the stock one to keep the knock sensors. I'm actually surprised this back one was working. There was signs of there being water. It should look like that. If your knock sensor hole looks like that, the seal was allowing water in. Causes all kinds of issues. Same ordeal with the valve covers. They really need polished up good. Didn't spend much time on them because I knew that we would be taking these heads off, and whenever we do, I'll hit these with a wheel or something to get them cleaned up and get them painted separately. Timing cover, same ordeal. So just kind of focused on the block. That way we have a good base to put down our Oldsmobile Gold whenever it shows up. Okay, we got the primer on the block. You know, it's one of those things you feel like you did a really good job of getting everything nice and clean, and then you find crap like that. But, oh well. This isn't going to be a show car. It's going to be nice, but it's going to be a driver. It's going to get dirty anyways. But at least now, the block's nice and primered. Whenever we get the color in, we'll just go ahead and spray it, and then probably just leave everything on it until I spray it with color, except for the crank pulley. But the problem is I couldn't get the crank bolt to break loose. Doesn't have a flex plate on it, so technically, probably it'd have to at least temporarily bolt up a flex plate to lock it out, or bolt up a crank lock arm, some kind of crap like that. But block is coming around. It'll look good with the Oldsmobile Gold on it. We'll do the heads, the block, probably the valve covers. I don't know if we're going to stick with stock valve covers or if we'll go to a nice aftermarket one yet. You know, this is a semi-budget build. It's going to be budget in a lot of ways, but in some ways it is going to be a little more high-end. You know, some parts, like we'll probably go with a LSXR fast intake instead of a factory intake, but you could get away with a factory intake on it. There's no reason that you have to, you know, swap the intakes out. We're just doing it for aesthetics and a little bit of power. And we'll be doing a power adder on this, maybe 2. So that's it for the block prep so far. Just kind of want to get you guys in the know. We got plenty to do on the old 442. I finally got the torque thrust wheels on. I put new hood pins on because why not? The old ones just weren't cutting it. Needs a whole new front. I believe they call it a rock guard. This piece right here that the emblem goes on. You can see it's broken a couple spots, and in fact, it doesn't line up. That should be out by the fender there. More like this side. This side's got good alignment. And because of the way this bumper's shaped, it makes the bumper look bent, even though that's not the case. Also going to try stripping these with some hydrochloric acid and water solution so I can basically spray paint them chrome. They're the factory metal ones. They're pop metal underneath. That should work, I think. And then the interior, just so much to do. All the rubber seals need replaced. All the window felts need replaced. This carpet, I'm probably going to replace it, even though it is fairly new. It's not a good set of carpet. Back seats are all right. For some reason, they cut the package tray out of this, so I need to clean that up and build a new package tray so I can put the actual package tray on it. But rear seats are pretty nice. Front seats, meh. They're been recovered, but it's not a good job. Console needs some work. Dash is in great condition, surprisingly. Glove box lock doesn't work. It is an air conditioning car without a radio, and so instead of getting a radio, I bought a Bluetooth amplifier I'm going to put underneath the dash, and then I'll do at least a center speakers. I bought a 2 set of Rockford Fosgates that bolt up in the center stock location, and we'll probably do kick panel speakers. I don't know that I'll worry about putting them back in the package tray. A lot of parts back here in the trunk. For the most part, everything's good back here. There's a couple spots maybe on the fenders that are a little bit rusted through that probably need to be addressed. There's a couple spots down on the rocker. Honestly, I'd like to replace both the rockers and the fenders, lower fender sections on both sides, if I can match this paint. I have a sneaking suspicion this is Duplicolor Brilliant Silver. I've got a quart coming, but surrounds on the windows, real good shape. not the chrome itself, but the actual surround. It's not showing a lot of signs of rust up there, which is a good sign. You know, the Nova has issues with cancer bubbling up through here, so I was happy to see that. That's one thing I don't have to get into. And then, yeah, there she is, the old 442 project car. Keep your eyes peeled. There's going to be a lot of stuff that we're doing with this. A lot of cool stuff. Been reaching out to some manufacturers, seeing if they want to join in with the build. I think some are going to come on board. Of course, we've got ICT Billet supplying some brackets and such for the LS swap. Big shout out to those guys as usual. Nitrous Express Snow Performance. I haven't reached out to them yet, but they will. I know those guys, they'll want to get some stuff on here. Probably run some of their fuel rails and stuff with the motor setup. And of course, HB Tuners. Big shout out to HB Tuners for supporting this build. And hopefully we get this thing done for like LS Fest and Hot Rod Power Tour next year. And you'll see us at the HB Tuners booth showing it off, because it's going to be pretty epic. We're going to spend a little more time on making it look good than we normally do. Don't worry, these wheels are temporary. Those are the original ones off the Nova. They're just on there because the rallies were about to rust out. This thing has full disc brakes, a CPP setup. And I've got a 9-inch housing coming, because I've got a center section with a Detroit locker already that we took out of the Nova to put the spool in. So we'll convert this over to coilovers with a Ford 9-inch in the back. The 6-liter LS, forced induction most likely, turbo 400 transmission, and air conditioning. So listen, everybody, that's pretty much it for right now. Kind of get you guys up to date with the latest project. Hold on, I'm shaking a little bit too much. Speaking of shaking, for those that are interested, I've got a appointment with the neurosurgeon. Hold on, let me put my phone up here. Whoop. I got an appointment with the neurosurgeon in October. I'm going to do deep brain stimulation, which is a device, implant device that helps with the tremors. So I'm super anxious to get that done. And hopefully it will steady my hand out and allow me to do more walking around holding the camera and stuff like that. But that's the 442 for right now. Make sure and subscribe if you haven't. Check out the Patreon, because there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on with the Patreon as far as the 442 goes. Don't want to miss out on that stuff. And it's a great place to get tuning assistance. Listen, you guys know the drill. Thanks for stopping by the garage. Remember, ABT, always be tuning.